We're thrilled to be joined on this Sunday morning by his eldest brother, Louis Prevost. Mr. Prevost, first of all, it's an honor to have you with us. What a historic moment for your family, for America. Welcome to Newsmax, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm happy to be here.
Take us back to that unforgettable scene we were just talking about at the Vatican. Your brother is introduced as Pope Leo XIV. Where were you? What was going through your mind as you heard the words Robert Francis, your kid brother, was about to walk out on that balcony?
Yes. Words can't express. I still have him 3 days later. I'm still in awe and in shock. But to be perfectly honest, that day, Thursday, I was not feeling well at all. You can maybe still hear it in my voice. So I had notified my work that, hey, I was going to lay low today, stay in bed, try to get some rest and feel better the next day. So I was actually sleeping. It was probably around a little after 10. My wife calls and said there was white smoke. In the back of our minds, we've been waiting. He's got a really good chance of being elected Pope, but who knows? She called, told me, woke me up, white smoke. I turned the TV on. I was watching Newsmax, you guys were live, had the little chimney in the corner down there. Yeah, that shot. And I'm watching that going, okay, tell us who won. Waiting. Seemed like forever. When the Cardinal came out to announce to the crowd, we have a new Pope. And then I'm sitting up in bed, I'm waiting. And he starts to say the name Roberto. And as soon as he started Robert, mine started blowing because I think there was only one other cardinal with the name Robert. And when he went Francisco, that sealed it because there's no Robert Francis other than Robert Francis Prevost. And as he announced the name, good thing I was in bed. I probably would have fallen over and hit my head on something and passed out. But he said the name, then my feeling bad kind of went away. I was up out of bed in a shot, got dressed, ran to the other room, put it on the big TV, sat there in awe. The feelings of joy and exuberation, I can't describe. I mean, imagine it's your little brother. He's the Pope.
Yes.
It's an indescribable feeling. I'm super proud of him. We all are. We love him to death.
Wow.
Like 5 minutes after the announcement, when I was sitting in the living room watching the TV and watching him on the balcony, and he started to do his initial prayer and speech to the crowd out there in Italian, and I thought, I'm not sure what he's saying. Then he switched to Spanish, and I thought, okay, quit showing off, you little jerk. But he did his thing, and my mind immediately flashed back to the 50s and 60s growing up. And I thought, remember that time way back when we used to tease him about being Pope, and he's Pope. Oh my God.
I want to get to that. Yes. But are you worried now? He's your kid brother. You're saying, come on, you little jerk. Why don't you speak in English like you just did in a humorous way? Are you worried that God is watching now? He's been watching you pick on your kid brother a long time. He
has. And believe me, it's changed how, my behavior a little bit. I've had to modify my activities and what I do, what I say, what I write in public spaces or say in public spaces. I've seen a couple already.
Yes.
Pope's brother said this. Oh my God. I don't want to get him in trouble or raise any grief or cause problems. But it's I think all the things I used to do to him, is this how I get paid back? Because now my life is going to change big time, not just his.
It has changed. And we hope you're feeling better, and we appreciate you were watching Newsmax when you got the news. That's wonderful. Talk about the upbringing, because you just mentioned your childhood. And I understand he used to dress up like a priest. What was your upbringing like in Dalton, Illinois? How influential were your parents? We have a wonderful picture of the three brothers and your mom.
Yep.
And I understand he used to take out an ironing board and pretend it was the altar so he could celebrate Mass, pretending he was a priest. Talk about what you saw as a kid and now bring it to today.
Well, that's exactly right. you have my other brother John there. He's the middle brother there.
Hmm.
When we were growing up small, we played like brothers, played kids games. I was the oldest. I was probably, I guess, 4 years older. And so I was the big meanie, but we'd play games. If one of them beat me, then I'd go chase him and beat him up. But at some point, those two got together, and it was a little harder for me to take care of both of them at the same time. But yeah, we'd play games, typical kid games. There was nothing, not in the house on the computer or on the phones like today, but
Yeah,
the sun would come up. If we weren't in school, it was outside from sunrise to sunset. Come back for dinner. If you weren't there at dinner, you were in trouble. So we did that. Our family prayed the rosary every night after dinner. So
wow,
mother, father, all us kids would be there in the house in the evening to say the rosary. My parents were
that's
very
great.
religious. My mother was very super religious. We had an aunt who was a nun. So there was
Oh, wow.
always frequently priests over to the house. The nuns would come to the house with my aunt. There's always religious in the house, in the
Yeah,
household, in our upbringing. So as
that's
Rob
great.
got a little more cognizant as he grew older, and I'm talking like
Hmm.
5 or 6 years old, while me and my friends are out playing with cap pistols and BB guns, and Rob wants to play priest. And it's like, we used to,
That's great.
tease him to no end about that. Come on, let's do something. But yeah, our parents were super supportive. There was never any pressure at all on any of us to do anything. It was, they educated us, raised us right. Um, he just had this calling, I believe, since birth, because you
That's
could
great.
you could just see the way he acted, behaved, was around our
Sure.
parents, other kids. Something different
So,
about him,
Louis, pardon
something
me for a
special.
second. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, what do you think moving forward he's going to do with that calling? Because the media, you know what they do,
Yeah.
mainstream media, they're now looking at some of your social media posts, and you've been very supportive of President Trump, said nice things about Vice President Vance and Elon Musk, and they're saying that this Pope, the media wants to say your brother is going to fight Donald Trump and is going to be on the world stage in a much different way. And the New York Times, a big front page story this weekend saying Donald Trump's sort of an ogre on the world stage, and your brother's going to change that. Do you ever have political conversations about your posts about Donald Trump? With your brother, what do you think he's going to do? How is he going to approach the papacy and deal with Donald Trump and other leaders on the world stage?
Uh, Number one, we really haven't had a lot of political discussions since he's been out of the house. When he was before he was bishop or cardinal, we'd occasionally have discussions, but not. He knows where I stand. I know where he stands, and now as pope, well, there's going to be some differences there. But as far as relations with world leaders, whether it's President Trump or anybody else, again, he's had the experience talking to those kind of people at that level. And I think with President Trump, I believe he's got the ability to get along. He may not agree on everything, uh, and he'll call a spade like he sees it now.
Hmm.
As being Pope, there's sure to be some friction, like you know President Trump with his immigration reform and trying to kick all the illegal immigrants out. Excuse me. And we know the church has been helping the illegals and sheltering them and whatnot. And there's a little friction there, but on the other hand,
Yeah,
my brother, I believe he's aware of every country has its
got it.
laws and rules, and
Hmm.
you do have to follow the rules, but maybe change the way you treat them as you move them out. I
Right.
don't know.
So, Louis, it sounds like you think he may, pardon me, find some middle ground. And he has clearly stated, your brother previously as a cardinal, you have to follow these laws, as President Trump says. but also treat people humanely. Last
Correct.
thing on a personal basis, are you and other family members planning to head to the Vatican for some of the upcoming ceremonies? What do you plan to tell your brother? And do you think he's going to make it back to Chicago and maybe go to a White Sox game? Because we understand he's a White Sox fan. Go back, have a hot dog, and
Yes.
inspire Americans. Go ahead.
No, I fully believe, and I hope. I told somebody else this. I think Francis traveled around quite a bit in his early days before he got hobbled up a little bit there. But I think with Pope Leo, my brother, and his previous travels around the world and many foreign countries, that yes, he's going to be more of a mobile pope. I'm hoping and praying he does come to the U.S. He does go back to Chicago, maybe to D.C., New York, the bigger cities, but out with the people.
Yeah.
Like he's more of a man with the people. And I don't see him staying in Rome. I see him trying to get out and go to places, not just the U.S., but other countries around the world, to, again, bring people back into the church. I've seen locally here, just in our immediate area, in just 3 days, there's been great interest in the new pope and in what he's doing. I think a big thing with the U.S., which will help a lot, is not only is he from here, but he speaks our language. I know from my own experience with past popes from when I was aware, say back in the 60s through today,
Yes.
all the popes, very few spoke what you would call fluent English that I was aware of. And they'd be talking, they'd be on TV, and you'd stare at them, Catholic, non-Catholic, whatever. You ask the Pope, I don't understand what he's saying, and you tune it out. So now here's an American Pope who can speak American English. You might pay closer attention to what he's saying, and just by understanding what he's saying, watching him, seeing how he reacts around people and with people, you're drawn towards him and thus drawn back towards the church. So I see him helping greatly rejuvenate the church here in the U.S. And worldwide. I mean,
and Louis, pardon me. And you've said, I believe, that he's like a speed texter. Does that mean he gets back to you quickly on the phone? Maybe he understands the modern era. And I'm reading a story today that says the parish that you talked about, your mom praying the rosary and whatnot, that parish in Chicago, as I understand it, was merged and sort of shut down. And there's graffiti behind the altar. So as a very last thing, can your brother inspire people back into the pews? You know, there's so many Catholic churches in America, including your own, where you grew up, and where he grew up, more importantly, that have been shut down. They've been shuttered. The elementary school that you went to, for example. What's the future like, a future church under your brother?
Knowing my brother and the way I've seen him, we've watched him for the last 30 years in Peru grow the church there. I see no difference now that he's the Pope of growing the church around the world. Again, call it what you will. I don't know. There's something about him. People noted way back when he was in the second grade, they looked at him and went, "You're going to be the Pope someday. There's something about you." Whether it was nuns saying that, women in the neighborhood, moms of other kids we used to play with, not, oh, he's playing priest. I teased them that you're going to be the Pope. Nah. These people were serious. You're going to be the Pope someday. So here we are, 60, 70 years later, and he's the Pope. And it just double blows my mind and the thoughts that I used to tease him.